One of the challenges I face as a teacher is that I have been doing this for 26 years, and it's very easy to fall into a pattern and a routine of teaching same old, and using the same sources. So for me, it became an opportunity to find new sources or different sources or a different lens, a different way of teaching. And I was amazed to find out how much information there is about slavery in the North. My name is Tricia McNab, and this year I teach 10, 11, and 12th grade. I teach AP US History, AP World, and I teach a community college course in criminology. In my lesson, I had two essential questions for students to focus on, and those essential questions were aligned with a set of documents that they had to analyze, and they had to work together in class to analyze those documents based on the rebellion of 1741. From a personal level and a professional level, I feel like the website just puts it all together for you, things I didn't realize. The essential question is, why would enslaved people choose to rebel in 1741 in colonial America? And we're going to be looking at some documents that addresses the rebellion from different points of view. And your responsibility today is going to be to look at those documents and analyze them and then share your responses. Now, normally when people talk about rebellions and they talk about resistance, there are different ways that enslaved people resisted their situations. And then I started to look at documents of the period and spent a lot of time researching information. So once I decided which documents were, one, age appropriate, some of those documents are really dense. And so how do you make it practical for the period? So I had to sift through and decided on 7 documents, and then decided, well, I want the students to analyze the documents, because part of being in an AP class is you do have to analyze documents. You have to use them to support or make a claim or counterclaim, depending on the point you're trying to make. And so the documents I chose could take either position. And I organize my students into groups. Among yourselves, you are going to list 5 ways enslaved people resisted slavery. From there, the students were given 2 essential questions in which to analyze the documents. And they had a conversation among themselves about, well, first, how did these individuals, either on their own or collectively as a group, resist slavery? And they were able to generate a discussion and post their responses. The group over here, Alma's group over here in the middle, running away, revolts, secret reunions, teach each other how to read and write. All of these are excellent examples and ways that enslaved people did revolt in their current state, or what was in their current state. Let's look at a video focusing specifically on a rebellion. And then they were able to see the video also and generate 3 facts they learned from the video. Then they looked at the documents, they analyzed them collectively. We came back as a group and each student shared their analysis. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this analysis?
Is it furthers the narrative that blacks are only out to kill their slave owners, take their money, and take advantage of them?
Excellent. So it furthers the narrative, right? It perpetuates a stereotype.
It is very evident that many of the white conspirators got way more lax punishment compared to their African American counterparts.
Okay. So white punishment for the same crime was less severe.
So if the slave owner had made it up to the north and found their slave up there, they could take them back.
They could take them back, right. In addition to that, students also had an opportunity to do an individual activity where they could either compare documents, students could surmise what they learned from the documents, or students had an opportunity to go back to the video and talk about what they still had questions about. And one of the things I think as part 2 of the lesson is to get into, well, what questions do you still have? Because it's one thing to present the documents. Documents is one lens, and there are lots of other information that might be out there that students may have questions about that I felt would be covered in part 2. What is the message of the document? What is it teaching you?
I don't think there's any topic that you cannot learn at any age. I think it's much better if we teach a person as young as we can, because it helps develop them, it helps show them that, hey, please remember, this is our past, don't forget it, and improve on it.
I think it's important for people to know that enslaved people, like, they resisted in like the best way that they could. They were really creative with it, and I think it's something like everybody can take inspiration from. Just like in general, if you think something's wrong, stand up and fight for what you believe in.
I would say don't be afraid to tell the truth, because it's harsh, it's often ugly, but we need to know it in order to prevent like terrible institutions like this from ever being created in the future.
I thought it went smoothly, at least from my lens. And I try as a teacher to be more of a facilitator than to dominate the conversation. I think sometimes as instructors, we want to impart all the knowledge and not let the students gain the knowledge, talk about it amongst themselves, and then share it with each other. They listen to each other, and hopefully they can walk away with that knowledge. It's like a puzzle, and they're filling in a lot of information that I myself didn't even know about. And even though I've been teaching for a long time, I don't know it all, and I just love learning more and more about the topic.